This is the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast, episode 469.
I program my own computer.
We have a server crash, 404 error, page not found, links aren't working, system is crashing, system is crashing, system is crashing.
Your old HTML website, barely alive. We have the technology. We have WordPress. A new website, better than it was before. Better, stronger, faster. We have the technology.
Why, hello there. I'm Kyle Maurer, the host of the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. Upcoming events. There are no WordCamp events happening right now, but I think WordCamp Asia is actually fast approaching. A lot of people are heading to, it's over. WordCamp Asia is over at the time of recording. I'm not paying as much attention as I probably should be. That's too bad, but there will be more events on the horizon, I'm sure. Segment 1 in the news. WordPress 6.2 Beta 2 is ready for download and testing. This release contains more than 292 enhancements and 354 bug fixes for the editor, including more than 238 tickets for the WordPress 6.2 core. That's impressive. Expect even more fixes as the 6.2 release cycle continues. This phase of the release addresses approximately 71 issues since last week's Beta 1, courtesy of all of you helpful beta testers out there. Thanks, and keep up the great work. Now, segment 2, we have a special episode for you today. I'm going to interview Adam Silver. I've got him in the studio with me today. Adam is a very special character. You might be familiar with him as the host of this very podcast. I am filling in today to interview my good friend Adam, and you can learn a little bit more about the man who's brought you this amazing podcast for so many years. 469 episodes, people. Can we get a round of applause for our friend Adam? I just want to congratulate you on 469 episodes. Now, I want to ask you a bunch of questions. First of all, welcome into the studio, Adam.
Thank you. Thank you very much. This is very surreal. I'm not going to lie. Done this one time before, as we talked about before we hit record. Our friend Dustin did this. Right. Episode 100.
Dustin Hartzler, getting the shout outs.
You didn't want to wait to episode 500.
No.
So, yeah. And just to clarify real quick, because I'm watching you read my notes kind of thing, this is segment 1, not segment 2.
Oh.
And WordCamp Asia is not over as a recording, but will be when this episode launches.
Well, thanks for your help. But
Sure.
I got this. I got this from you.
Okay, fine.
All right. I'm gonna start with some hard-hitting questions, Adam.
All right.
Because your listeners have been listening to you jaw on about WordPress and running your freelance business and all the running that you do for a long time. But they've never heard you answer hard questions like, do you prefer hot dogs or hamburgers?
Hamburgers.
Okay, well, that was pretty easy. What was the first WordPress theme you ever used?
Kubrick.
Was it really?
Yeah.
That goes back pretty far. You guys remember Kubrick? I do, just barely.
Barely. I mean, at the end of it. I know what version. Yeah, I mean, I was Kubrick for the theme, and I think it was I was pre 2.9 version WordPress, that kind of thing. Yeah.
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 Okay, interesting. I was probably more like a 2010.
Yeah, well, I used Kubrick barely, and then it was right into like a 2010.
Right.
It was like a moment, a blip of time. But I do remember core version was 2.9 ish in that range. Like it was before 3 for sure. Before we had custom post types. Before we had what else? I hear sirens. Do you hear sirens?
I do hear sirens.
Is that going to be recorded?
No, probably not.
Okay, fine. Sorry about that. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I can tell you more about core later if you need to know.
Yeah, well,
whatever.
Maybe. You have a lot of knowledge that we need to share. Do you have a favorite donut, Adam?
Ironically enough, we just had donuts this morning. So for those who don't know, I'm actually here in the studio in Jackson, Michigan.
Yeah, that's an important detail.
I came to visit and to see the Maurers and all your clan, and here we are.
Just answer the question.
Oh, sorry.
Please.
Favorite donut? Probably just a solid glazed, or maybe. Oh no, actually no, that's not true.
Solid glaze.
No, I'm wrong. Jelly, warm jelly.
Warm jelly. Okay,
Yeah.
Which type of jelly? Like an apple or a lemon or a raspberry or something?
Like a raspberry, yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. And I forgot. I should do the full disclosure. You know, we always start with how do I know the guest of the
Yes,
show, and
yes.
you know, you might not know this, you might not remember, but how we first met.
I remember.
I remember quite well. I was a juror on the trial in your first public indecency conviction. You might not remember this, but that's going way back. And that's how we originally got acquainted.
What happened with the gag order?
This was
on
long
that?
before we were bunkmates.
Wasn't there a gag order on that discussion?
It's expired.
Oh,
Yeah, long ago. Keep up. Anyway, yeah, we go way back, and I was just wondering, we always have to do the old
How I got here?
how we got here,
Or how I know you?
how we know each other. That's
So
right. Yeah.
my version is not your favorite story of how we know each other.
I like my version of the story better.
Yeah, clearly. I recall I was at WordCamp Dayton, and I was on a panel about creative and marketing and running agency stuff. And after the panel was over, I was in a circle of, 8 to 10 people. You were in that circle talking about, we're just talking, and then you kind of broke the barrier, came across to shake my hand and said, "Hey, I listen to your podcast. I'm a big fan." And you shook my hand and kind of wouldn't let go. And the fact that we're the same height and we're the same kind of physical size,
Right.
It was interesting. I was like, "Oh, okay." And I'm like, "Do you like my show so much?" My thought was, "Are you going to kill me? Do you like my show that much?"
I really,
you really right. You really like the show. That was like the first time we met. However, looking back at old photos, I have photos of you from WordCamp San Francisco 2014 in the crowd.
That's right.
Right.
We were both there. We just didn't know.
We didn't know each other. We were like probably 10 feet apart from each other.
Yeah. That infamous event where we had to leave the building because of a
Fire alarm.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Ironically enough. So that's my first memory of meeting you in person. And yeah, and then was it that night at the after party or something, some place with the chess club or something?
Oh yeah, I think that was a speaker sponsored dinner.
Yeah. You invited me to be on your old podcast, The Roundtable.
Oh yes, indeed. Right.
You said you have an open invitation to come on whenever you want, and I did that probably like a month later. Yeah, and then the rest is history.
Very special
We've
guest.
traveled together. We've bunked up together.
I did a talk at that camp too. Do you remember?
Yes, on short codes.
You do recall? Yes.
Yeah,
I did a talk about short codes.
that's right. I remember. I went to that. Yeah, that's good talk.
I
See?
put a lot of work into that talk, mostly just into the pictures in my slides.
Yeah. So that's how I know you.
You've done a lot of talks at WordPress events. Do you have a favorite that you did in the past?
Yeah, I think. Initially I started off doing talks for beginners, really how to get people going, talking about just the settings and what to do within WordPress and the kind of best practices that I found. I like the beginner track a lot. And then I kind of got burnt out of that. So I switched over into more like how to use podcasting to grow your business and podcasting setups, ironically enough. And I would do a live show. Like I would record a show on stage, the whole process of my flow. I don't know. So those were pretty... I like those a lot. They got good feedback. We've done a few battles. I think.
Yes, indeed.
I think maybe you were fishing for that.
Right. That's the correct answer.
WP battle was kind of fun. The first one that we ever did, the rap battle, was awesome, but not my favorite. You were much more invested because we had different. I had the job still. And you...
It's okay. You can just say I'm a better rapper. That's fine.
And I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
You were off book. I was not off book. And that was the difference.
Yeah.
For one. But with the other battle, I think the battle we did with the political version, I loved that one.
That was a lot of fun.
Because I was really much more prepared. I did buttons. I did a poster, that whole thing.
That was great. And we had participation with the photographers and Angie moderating the debate.
That was prior to 2016, right?
Yeah. I think it was in 2016 because it was in the middle of a political race. That's why we did that shtick.
Yeah. And then the other one I liked a lot also was the superhero, supervillain one.
We had a lot of fun with
fun.
that.
With Corey Maurer, hatescats.com or something, or lovescats.com.
Yeah, you were a superhero.
Yeah, that was also good. So there's been a handful. So
yeah, that was great. What about a worst talk fail?
Easy. WordCamp Orange County 2016, I'm going to go with approximately. We did the same group of us did a talk in WordCamp Maui, ironically enough. We did a beginner track, Greg Franklin, Catherine Pressner, and myself. And we all took different pieces of it. And we crushed it in Maui, literally. I mean, we killed. It was a great everything. And I got cocky in a sense. So I didn't like update my notes. I figured I got this.
Been there.
And I just phoned it in. Totally phoned it in. And I feel to this day, it still bothers me. Yeah.
Tell me about it.
know,
Tell me about it. I've had those moments on stage where it's just like, you can't. I just live with this regret,
Right.
like forever.
Yeah, so I just feel guilty that I just didn't give my best for that. You know, it was just a different group, obviously, like anything else, any other performance, if you will, or any presentation. I did not do it justice. I got a little cocky, so that was my least favorite one. However, that's my least favorite. Second close follow-up would be WordCamp Denver. My laptop crashed and died 24 hours before my talk.
Oh yes, indeed. I had to borrow someone's laptop.
Yeah, I borrowed a laptop, and it was a brand new talk, and I was in the wrong track, wrong room, and it was not good. But I redeemed that by doing the same talk, whatever the talk. Oh, I remember what it was now. At WordCamp, was it North County? Was what? I forgot which one. Well, you and I were talking at the same time. That one that the second day.
Oh, San Diego, I think.
No. It's somewhere. Maybe it was Kent or Ohio.
Oh.
Yeah, we were at that barn restaurant. It was like there was like two rooms. There was like a barn room, like a back room.
I don't remember this.
Yeah, I have pictures of it. Yeah. Anyway, but I had a much better presentation and a better response to it. Yeah.
I'll have to take your word for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we trust you. Do you have a favorite cocktail?
Whiskey sour.
Is that right?
Yeah.
No kidding.
I had a solid double last night.
Yeah, you did.
You make a solid whiskey sour. I'll give you props.
I know how to do that.
Didn't see that coming.
Yeah, I can make a cocktail now and then. What's the hardest drug you've ever done?
Where'd Adam go? Hardest drug?
Tylenol.
Yeah. Excedrin.
You're so cool. How did you feel about the Niners this year?
Bummed.
Bummed.
One word, bummed.
Yeah.
I mean, also proud. We did really well for what happened.
Yeah, circumstances, yeah.
Yeah, we lost, two quarterbacks, three quarterbacks, in essence. But yeah, so.
Yeah, it's interesting. If I recall last year, there was a lot of conversation about whether like Shanahan was really doing it for the team.
Right.
I distinctly remember you questioning his leadership. Whether he should stay.
I still question his leadership.
What? Oh,
yeah. But that's we should talk about that on your other podcast.
Yes, yes, indeed. But I do need to know who you think they should start at quarterback next season.
Me.
Okay.
Or Steve Young. A true answer to that would be, I think it's Purdy's if he's healthy. I think it needs to be between Purdy and Garoppolo, but Garoppolo's gone. I think Purdy right now. I would give it to Purdy. We know more about him than we do about Trey Lance.
Okay, that's fair.
That's all.
Yeah.
We know nothing about Trey Lance. That's the problem. We know 10% about Purdy.
I'll give you that.
So,
what was the best client experience you ever had?
The one who called me up last year and said, "You need a raise."
Nice. That's amazing.
Right. He said, you haven't raised my prices in forever. And she pays good money for managed hosting, and we take care of her. And she said, send me a bill with a new number on it.
That's incredible.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How's that feel?
I was like, excuse me? I'm like, what? Yeah.
You're apparently doing good work.
Yeah.
You're valued.
Yeah. So that's probably one of the better ones.
Yeah. What about the worst client experience that you had?
I have two that come to mind. Both were law firms, ironically enough.
Okay.
Yeah. First one built a site. I was still working at a day job at the time, and she was actually one of my students to start. And then she's like, well, why am I going to learn this? I'll just hire his company after the class is over to build it. So we built like a basic site to start for some class action lawsuit that they were the lead on. And then we updated the main site, and then they went quiet for a year. And because of that, I have in my contract now a dormancy clause. But they come back a year later, and like nothing had happened, and said, "Can we have the site by Friday?"
Classic.
Right?
Yeah.
But what had happened truly was, it used to be I won't use the actual firm's name. I'll use the example. Dewey, Screw 'em, and Howe. So originally, Dewey leaves. So Howe is my client. Howe's my main contact. Yeah. Dewey retires and leaves. They want me to update the site, take off his name off of the graphic. Mind you, the site was flat HTML, wasn't WordPress. So I had to go into Photoshop and do some work and upload it through FTP. And then eventually, 6 months later, Screw 'em dies.
Whoa.
But he moves out of state. I'm living in California. He goes to Texas, goes home to his home state, and he dies. He doesn't tell his partner, who is Howe, that he has cancer.
Wow.
So how is that?
How exactly?
Yeah. So he dies. So that's why there was such a delay in conversation, because Howe, my main contact, was dealing with her firm, in all that turmoil.
Yeah.
But that was one of the worst, in a sense. I mean, sadly, but that kind of thing. That's the thing.
Another one of those examples of just like the unpredictability of these,
Of clients.
engagements.
Of clients.
Just, it's not always in anyone's control. The
No.
circumstances change.
Right.
Especially with long-lasting projects.
Right. But a year. I mean, and then they came back literally and they said, hey, we want to go take the site live on Friday. I'm like, excuse me?
Incredible.
I mean, we had gone through like 3 versions of WordPress by then. 3 major releases, if not 4.
Yeah, geez, that's
Yeah.
As you built out your service business, I'm wondering if there were other service providers in WordPress who inspired you or whom you emulated. I know that was my case when I was building out an agency. I looked to other people like Ross and the Pixel Jar guys and Ali Interactive, Matt Boynes, and a lot of other agency owners.
I take the approach like Snoop Dogg. I just want to thank me.
Okay, I get that.
No.
Yeah, that seems to be reflected in how you run your business.
True answer. Yeah, I'm trying to think of who. I probably would give some credit to, to you when you had RBM.
Wow.
Yeah, for sure.
What not to do?
There's that. Yeah. My friend Elisa, she runs a really good company. She actually got me to raise my prices without, I don't think, realizing it. Just at conversations and whatnot. After I got to North Carolina,
Sure.
She has a B Corp. She's super smart. She's just funny. She's great. So I've learned a lot from her. This is all pre-COVID when we used to kind of co-work together up in Durham. Thinking of other agencies. Probably there are a few top of mind. I just don't know, but those 2 come up to mind. But yeah, I give credit to Elisa.
Yeah. How spicy can you handle your food?
Like on a Scoville or just on a 1 to 10?
Yeah, just like compare yourself to most people. Like, can you handle pretty hot stuff?
7.
A 7?
Yeah.
Out of 100?
I don't want to, out of 100, yeah. Out of 10. I don't want to be in pain, and I want to enjoy the food. I want a little bit of a kick.
But you got a pretty good tolerance.
I do.
Yeah, you're not going to cry if it's medium.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know. What was the best change, the most impactful change that you made to your business?
Profit first.
Profit first. Okay.
The
That's a
book.
book.
The book.
I think you were in a book club.
I was.
Yeah.
Still am, but we're taking a break. So really paying attention to paying myself, like breaking income. I used to treat income into the company as just money. Just like if I charged a site $1,000, let's say, easy money, like I made $1,000. But the reality is I did not make $1,000. There's expenses, there's taxes, and then there's profit and there's owner pay has to come out of that. So putting that into place 2 years ago, thanks to my friend Renee, that has really just saved my butt.
Renee just started a podcast.
She did.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did.
I've been listening to it a little bit. So shout out to Renee.
I won't listen to it. I'm kidding.
It's quite good.
Yeah. So
if I could remember the name of it, I would. It's something about your first digital product.
First digital product.
Your first. I think that's it. Your first digital product.
Yeah. She's going down that focus. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yep.
Which sports are you confident you could beat me in?
Ultra running.
Okay. Yes, I'll grant you that.
Tennis.
Maybe. That's it.
No, wait.
I got the rest.
Swimming.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah.
Soccer.
Oh, soccer.
I played for 10 years.
Well, yeah, you got me. Yeah. I played when I was 6.
And maybe it depends. I'm not sure where you are in snow skiing skills. I mean, I used to be pretty.
I've never put on skis in my life.
Okay, so snow skiing.
Okay. All right, that's pretty good. Yeah. That's pretty good. And I'll take the rest.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Badminton, ping pong, and pool. Yeah, you get the rest of those.
I would crush you in air hockey. At least.
Air hockey and basketball. Yeah.
And what? Hold on.
No, you got me in basketball.
Oh yes, I would definitely have you in basketball.
Yeah, I watched you this morning. So real quick, sidebar. We went to the high school so you can play your pickup game this morning. I ran the track because it's like 15 degrees outside this morning and icy. It wasn't the cold; it was just the ice. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, I watched you warm up a bit. I'm like, he can play. Yeah, I don't have the basketballs. Oh, I can also beat you in volleyball.
Yeah, you probably could. I'm very amateur at volleyball.
So okay.
I'll give you that. When will you adopt the block editor?
Oh wow! Oh, I didn't see that one coming. Yeah. Wow. If all goes well, never. You're assuming I haven't.
I know you haven't.
Okay, I haven't. I've tried. I've looked at it. I keep trying it, and I don't know. I'm just so much more. It's like it's comfort. It's a comfortable thing. When you put it on a comfortable pair of sweats, I built a couple websites on my own for my own little amusement in the last 3 months, and these 3 or 4 niche sites that I did, the calendar, all this. And I'm just so much faster in the tools I know. Mm-hmm. The only way for me to get past that, and I was talking to Greg Frankman about it. He's a huge fan of Cadence and Cadence, the theme.
I love Cadence.
And Cadence and the blogs.
I'm a fan.
Right. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm just still faster with the Beaver Builder stack. It's cool. It's what I know. Now, I guess that said, if I want to build something, let's say the next thing I want to build, if I give myself time, I can learn something new. But if I'm in a rush, if you will, if I want to get something quick to market, I just know all the settings I need to know for Beaver Builder. Yeah. It works the way my brain works, Mm-hmm. So I'm just not quite there. Maybe this year, but maybe not. I don't know.
Okay.
2025. No later than 2025.
Okay, well, that's coming up.
Gives me a little bit of time.
What are the top 3 places you want to go that you've never been?
Top 3 places. Japan.
Awesome.
Australia.
Des Moines.
Des Moines. Any places?
On this earth.
Yeah. Ireland.
Great. I think you're going to do that this year.
We're trying to knock off Ireland this year, in September for our 25th wedding anniversary.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Were there any really notable turning points in your WP career that you look back on as just pivotal? Like, if that hadn't happened, this cascade of events would never have occurred. What are the key turning points that led you down the path you walked ultimately?
Yeah, there's a handful that come to mind. First and foremost, what?
The big ones.
The big ones. Well,
yeah. Don't bore us here.
So I remember going to, first and foremost, reaching out, listening to podcasts, looking for a podcast about WordPress in the Apple directory, early days. I found a handful that had pod faded already. Whoops. I found Dustin Hartzler's podcast.
I actually don't know this for sure. Is KitchensinkWP your first podcast?
Yes.
You never had one before?
No.
Wow, actually, I didn't realize that.
So to me, technically a podcast is, a serialized audio, video, or a PDF, which is weird to me. To me, a podcast is still defined as audio, even though it can be video. That said, I used to watch podcasts in video format for photography. Early days.
Oh, okay.
And then the audio, and I started listening to the audio stuff.
Yeah.
I found WordPress. I'm like, I'm kind of diving into this arena. Checked the directory. Found Dustin's was the most current and consistent. Listen to his, and then he put out the word looking for guests to be on about their tools, developer tools that we use. So I reached out.
Right.
And then I was on his podcast like a couple weeks later. Oh. So that was pretty pivotal in one aspect, caught me thinking. And then he and I became friends before I met you.
Yep.
And then he got a ticket to speak at New Media Expo in Las Vegas. But he had an extra ticket, so he gave it to me. So he said, if you want it, you can come and have it. And I'm not sure where I stayed. I'm not sure if I don't think I stayed with him, but whatever, I went. And after that conference, I was included in a tweet that said these 8 to 10 people would make for a great mastermind.
Interesting.
And in that was my name, also Dustin stuff. It was 10 of us. So I reached out to the other 9 and see who wants to do a mastermind.
Okay.
5 of them were already in masterminds, including Dustin. He was already in 1 or 2 others.
Yeah.
And the other 4 were not. So I led the charge to do it. So that first mastermind was myself, Shay Harms, Shay Keith now, Sam Lytle, JC Shad, I can't say his last name, and I can't think of the other woman's name off the top of my head. The 5 of us were in it. We lasted about 4 months, but without that group, I wouldn't be here right now.
Why is that?
I wouldn't have launched.
Oh.
I'm a very much like, I needed to be held accountable. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I would not have launched the podcast, 8.5 years ago. Gotcha. I'm confident in that.
Sure. Yeah.
That's pretty pivotal, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a big moment.
Yeah.
Interesting. I actually didn't know that story.
Yeah.
See, learning stuff. Yeah. Have you ever considered stopping the podcast? Like, when will this?
After this episode. I thought you bought it. I thought you taking this was the purchase price.
Oh.
No.
Right.
Have I considered stopping? Not really.
You've got to have thought about it at some point. Like what?
I enjoy doing it. I really do.
Yeah.
There are some episodes that I don't. I mean, I feel like I always could do better, this or that. Or I wasn't as prepared as I would have hoped. I think over the years I've probably scrapped maybe a handful or less than 10 that I've completely started over or just threw it away because I just didn't feel like it was good.
Nice.
Yeah. But I have a pretty consistent routine on how I prep and plan for it. But no, I'm at the moment. I'm just going. I'm going until I go.
Okay.
Until I don't.
Going until you go.
Until I don't. I don't know. I've started another podcast with you at one point, which we have kind of like the life changes have happened on that one. I have ideas for other podcasts, which I really would like to get going. I mean, I have ideas for like 6 other podcasts.
Yeah, you have it for as long as I've known you.
Yeah.
But we haven't started a mastermind to talk about them.
Right. Yeah. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what I need. Yeah.
But you're at least going to make it to 470.
Yes.
For this one.
I would say I'd probably make it to at least 500.
Wow.
Why not?
Okay.
I mean, as long as I'm healthy. I mean, heck, I've even done the podcast when I've been hurt.
I think you should stop just before 500.
No, I had a cracked rib. I did a podcast. I've been sick. I did a podcast. Yeah. It's my, I hear a lot. It's a consistency,
It is. Okay.
It's my thing. Once I get going on something, I just go. Same thing with the running. Same thing.
Same thing. Well, it's been great talking with you, Adam, and getting to know you a little bit better. That's it for segment 2, interview with our special guest, Adam Silver. We're grateful that he was able to come into the studio today. We could learn a little bit more about the person who created the KitchensinkWP podcast. He's a special guy. We all love him. Send out some tweets, people. Send out some tweets and some podcast reviews. I request that you show some love to this guy who has just been so reliable and consistent for so many years now.
Go on.
And go back and listen to episode 70-something where I was the guest, because that's the second best episode of this podcast. Moving on, segment 3, tip and tool of the week. We've got the Smart Quiz Builder. Apparently this looks interesting. One-time payment. You can buy this is it a plugin?
It's a plugin.
It's a plugin. Yeah, check it out. smartquizbuilder.com. No affiliation with us or anyone on this show, but it's something we think could be a handy tool. Time to wrap it up. If you have a question, go ahead and send it in via email to adam@kitchensinkwp.com or use the SpeakPipe function on the website. If you want to support the show, you can become a Patreon, kitchensinkwp.com/Patreon. If you want to sponsor the show, you can actually do that too, and it would be pretty cool. I think you should.
I think
you will
so too.
Definitely get a positive ROI from sponsoring the one and only Kitchen Sink WP podcast. There's a form on the website to fill out. Thanks for listening. See you next week. Now go out and do some awesome things with WordPress.
See ya.